Fran. And I grew up in a family of beekeepers. We had bees for as long as I can remember, and we used to help Dad with the bees. And at one point we had bees in Scott County and also in Owen County, and we got different kinds of honey based on the flowers. And my interest in bees has grown over the years, and I really do appreciate all their hard work, especially in this day and age where we're having trouble with bees and we're seeing our colonies collapse, and there appears to be some connections to our environment with our bees at this point, and perhaps maybe some of the things that we're doing to our environment, especially with chemicals, that we may be decreasing the bees in the world. And we've got to keep the bees going because, as I said several years ago, I put it that if it were not for the bees, we would not be. So we've got to keep our bees. They actually do pollinate about 85% of what we eat. And when you consider that, all the plants that they take care of, we've got to keep them going. So I've got some things here from my early days of being a beekeeper. Here's one of the earlier pictures of me in my bee garb. And back then I was afraid of getting stung, and I would wear layer upon layer upon layer of clothing so that if they did sting me, they'd have a long way to go before they could actually get their stinger in me. And over time I still have maintained keeping my clothes on for the bees. Here I am working with my father, who really was the beekeeper in our family. In fact, he helped a lot of people set up their beekeeping throughout central Kentucky, and he was a great inspiration to me. And I have his one remaining hive. When he died a couple of years ago, I have the one remaining hive from his apiary. And as you can see here, I must not be afraid of the bees too much because I'm not wearing a hat, and it would be pretty easy for those bees to sting the top of my head. And Dad taught us how to not only take the honey from the bees, but he also taught us how to build the frames. And in a few minutes we're actually going to take some of the frames and extract the honey from them, and you'll get to see the frames. And we're also going to take a little visit down here, down the hillside here, outside of Danville, and visit the bees. They're closed up pretty much now for the fall and the winter. But we'll go ahead and say hello to all those girls down there. This is the time of the year when the drones are kicked out of the hive, and the little girls continue to take care of the hive. The numbers are low, but we should be able to visit them. Another thing is, as I worked with the bees, my family, we would go to the state fair and compete, and we had lots of years where we exhibited honey and also wax in the form of candles and other things. We would have lots of great exhibits, and pretty much each one of us kids in the family would end up winning the competitions at the state fair and be the overall champion of the beekeeping division, which was really a lot of fun. Now, when I was a freshman at Georgetown College, my father suggested that I become the Kentucky Honey Queen. And I told Dad that I would run for Kentucky Honey Queen as long as there wasn't a swimsuit competition. The year was 1976-77, and I didn't feel like it was appropriate for a beekeeping Kentucky Honey Queen to wear a swimsuit. So I said, Dad, if they don't have a swimsuit competition, sure, I'm in. And Dad made a phone call, found out that it was not a swimsuit competition, and so I ended up presenting my article about bees and being the angels of agriculture that they are to the state association. I won that competition, and then I ended up going to Florida in January of 1977, which was one of the heaviest snowstorms that Kentucky had ever experienced. And I was in Florida with a bunch of beekeepers and with a bunch of other honey queens from across the country, and I ended up presenting my paper on bees and their importance to our agriculture. And I've continued to work with bees, have them in my life, and I'll show you a few of the other things. Here is, I think you've already shown this, but here's my sash from being Kentucky Honey Queen. And I guess really, it's probably, oh, here, we gotta show this. All right, there we go. Okay. Oh my goodness, isn't this pretty? Except for those roaches. There they are. That was wild. Did you see that spider go in and get chased out? There, go. Huh? Get out of here, roach. Get. I guess it's warm in here and that's why they like it. All right. Hello, girls. Now, we don't need this queen excluder on here. We'll just go ahead and take this off. This was from the summer. And this was to separate the bees from, so the queen could not get through here to where the honey was being built. I'm just going to lean that. Well, how can I do this? Let's see. Oh goodness. We're going to have to get some, oh gosh, that frame just split. We're going to have to get some beetle traps. I don't know if I can get any of these out of here. Tim, we're going to have to get some beetle traps. Yeah. You know what bees do whenever you breathe on them? They get mad. Watch this. Did you see what happened? They just came after me. I'm just pulling this old stuff off. They don't really need it. It doesn't have any honey in it or anything. There's nothing in there. Looks like great places for those nasty little beetles to hide. Oh, that one just got on its defensive and stung and put out its stinger. Isn't that sad? That is so sad. I'm sorry, honey. These are primarily, I mean, I don't see one drone in here right now, so it looks like they've already done their thing to get the drones out.
because the only thing drones would do is just eat, and they need this surplus honey for all the girls to make it through the winter. Or, well, hopefully we've got enough eggs. That would be the only other thing I would look for, would be to go further down and make sure we have plenty of eggs. I'm smoking. Yeah, it's a way to calm them down. It would be better if I didn't use it. I mean, I'd rather they just go away. But I think the one bee that put out that one stinger, what they do is they send out pheromones to the others, and they say somebody hurt one of our sisters. And so the next thing you know, you've got the bees that are the sentinels that are going out trying to take care of the situation by getting rid of whatever the creature was that caused the bee to lose its stinger and die. Oh, and also I might tell you that back in the day when I was a kid working with Dad, we didn't have all these problems with bees. We didn't have problems with beetles. We didn't have problems with moths. We didn't have problems with so many of the things now that kill the bees. And it's just a totally different thing. You have to understand, you have to treat them with all types of medicines and things now that are extremely expensive just to keep your bees healthy. And it's just, everything's different. It's very, very frustrating that you just can't have bees and have them be happy and go out and visit your bees and pull out honey and talk about how pretty it is and then close them back up. You've got to worry about all these other things now. What we're doing here is we're using the knife to slice off the tops of the caps from the comb so that we can extract it. These are not the prettiest frames that we've had this summer. This was the end of the season honey, and some of them are not really that built out. We decided to go ahead and take this honey from the bees so we could go ahead and close up the hive. They have plenty of surplus in the brood chamber. We have, looks like enough to get them through the winter. So I didn't feel like we needed to leave these in there. So what we'll do with this is we're going to extract the honey, and then I'm going to take the wax because it's not in that good of shape, and I'm going to make candles out of it. 6 to 8 pounds of honey to make 1 pound of wax. It's a lot of work those bees did to pull all of those cells out. So I'm going to lay it in here and prop it on its side. And as you know, with centrifugal motion, we'll put the 3 others in here and start spinning. We're going to flip them around and see the honey's pretty much extracted from there. So we're going to turn them all around the other way, and we're going to use centrifugal motion to take care of the other side. All right, so here we go. Start out slowly. Oh, isn't that pretty? Liquid gold. Nectar of the gods, except it's not nectar, it's honey. I think we're ready to make a candle. All right, so I'm going to send it through this mesh one time. Okay, so we have gotten out what garbage was in there. Looks like some grass, other things. And now we're going to filter it again through this little coffee pot. And we're going to make some votives. Straighten that out. The trick here is that I have put silicone in these votive holders. Okay. Important thing here is to keep this wick centered as I pour the wax. Because it's wax, as it hardens, we can also move it around. Another thing that's important is to make these as straight as possible. Because if they're not straight, then we won't know that they're straight at the top. So we'll be coming back to this and straightening that. Oh, that was lovely. All right, that's pretty. Now let's just fill this one back up. Got too much in here. There. And if you do spill any wax, like I just did, it's okay. Because guess what? It'll peel off this and we can recycle it. There is research in Europe about colony collapse that is showing that it's tied to some of the neonids, okay? It's a longer name than that, but neonids is what everybody calls it. And these poisons are just, these neonids not only destroy it destroys the neurological systems of the bees, so they can't find their way back home. It destroys the digestive systems of the bees, so they no longer can do what they're supposed to do in life. And then the third thing that it destroys is the reproductive system in the bee. So 3 different systems are affected. And the bee basically becomes inoperative. And unfortunately what happens is whenever you have that happen, it weakens the hive in those 3 ways. And then from what I've seen, I believe we experienced colony collapse in our hives in Georgetown, and we lost them. And I think it's because of the chemicals that are out there. And I truly believe here at Harrington Lake, we also experienced the same type of thing because we lost one of our hives after somebody sprayed a whole hillside with Roundup. Now, the Europeans have been doing research on this, and the Europeans have found that if they get rid of the neonids, that the bee populations start to reestablish themselves. I find that very interesting, and I really have to wonder, are we humans doing this for big chemical companies? Are we doing it so that we can have a pretty hillside, what we consider a pretty hillside, at the expense of destroying our food supply? There are beekeepers who have lost all their bees, and these are commercial beekeepers who truck bees from Michigan down to Florida and back up again, and have lost all of their bees. And you'll actually see grown men crying when they lose all their bees. It's been their livelihood for a long time, and they no longer have that livelihood, and they don't know what to do, because these are pets. It may be 30,000, 40,000 pets, but they're still pets.